Hi everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled, the TV podcast here on the Mild Fuzz Podcast Network. I'm Peter Bradley, and joining me, as always, is the Ginger Menace, Connor Ryan.
Hey everyone.
So as a TV podcast, every week we review a bunch of shows, and this week we reviewed the entire second season of Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt from Netflix. We also reviewed Winona Earp, the Better Call Saul Season 2 finale, the Supergirl Season 1 finale, the newest episodes of The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So if you're on the audio version, you can find the timestamps to all of those. They'll appear at the end of the show. If you're on YouTube, just click on the links on the screen, and that'll take you to those reviews when you want them.
Did you mention Winona Earp?
I did, yeah.
I don't remember hearing it.
Connor looking for a mistake and ceasing to find one.
Yeah.
And the off chance that I'm wrong, I didn't say it, it's just been brought up, so we're fine. We're covered either way, but I'm pretty sure I'm right.
Okay. I'll listen back and check that later.
Alright, okay. I'm glad you're keeping a lookout. But of course, before we get to any of that, we have the week's TV news to do, so things happened.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, things happened. Interesting things, at least the first one's interesting. Mr. Robot Season 2 has got a premiere date.
Yeah.
July 13th is the second season of Mr. Robot, and that's when it's going to start. It's going to air on Wednesdays like last year, and I cannot wait.
So excited.
Yeah, this is the main event of the summer. I actually just put up all of our season 1 reviews into one video on YouTube. So if you want to find those, it's actually really easy to see them all now because they're all just one big video. Because if you remember last year when we actually were reviewing this, we didn't have stuff split up like that on YouTube. So now you can just go and watch the whole thing if you want.
Yeah.
Really
you made it nice and convenient for everyone to catch up.
Exactly. So if you're going to rewatch season 1 or watch it for the first time, because if you haven't watched Mr. Robot, I highly recommend.
If you haven't watched it, what the hell is wrong with you?
Check out Mr. Robot. It's well worth your time. And so 10 episodes season 2 is starting on July 13th. Excellent news. Now, next up, not so excellent news, is Krypton, the prequel series to Superman, developed by David S. Goyer, which has been they've been working on this for like a year and a half now, but they're actually nearing a pilot order at SyFy. And I am quite skeptical about this for a couple of reasons. First of all, David Goyer's involved in Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, and Batman v Superman in particular is atrocious. I'm also skeptical because this just kind of says Gotham to me, but the Superman version.
Yeah.
Or even though Smallville was technically that already, but this...
I know what I mean. My one saving a bit of hope is that Krypton was probably my favourite part of Man of Steel. I thought their take on Krypton was actually interesting and appealing, and I would like to see more of that.
Yeah, but there was also the only story that took place in the Krypton section was the bog standard origin part that's already there for them.
Yeah, but just their take on Krypton's situation. You know, the whole no natural births and
I guess.
I like that idea. It's interesting.
That's assuming they're still setting it in the same universe.
That is assuming that, yes.
Because I see nothing about that right now. I remember when they first talked about this, it was set in the same universe as the movies. I don't know if that's still the case.
Yeah, I'm just going off that assumption that's from what they said before. But
I mean, I would love this to be good. If you don't know what this is actually about, it's set in Krypton, about I think it's like 50 years before.
It's 2 generations. It's Jor-El's dad.
I know. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
So that's 50 years sounds about right.
Yeah, maybe.
So I was trying to actually put it in context. I was going to say it's about Clark's grandfather. I was getting there. You were just trying to correct me, even though I wasn't saying anything wrong.
Yeah,
so,
it's just
quiet.
You're guessing.
Ginger.
I was just giving you the facts that we actually have. It could be him as a young man, as a 20-year-old, for all you know, and then it's like 70 years before.
Well, it depends. We don't know how young he was when...
No, we don't. That's my point. So, you're just guessing. You have no idea.
It's about Jor-El's father on Krypton, and apparently the House of El has been shamed in some way, and he's trying to win the respect back for the family. I don't know. I mean, it could be good, but the name's involved, and...
I'll tell you that there's one other thing that gives me a little bit of hope.
What's that?
I remember when this first kind of came about, it was about the same time as they started talking about Supergirl, and we started hearing about James Olsen, and our reactions to that were not favourable.
True, but
And then we ended up enjoying it,
yeah,
and
but
it was
they're
fine.
completely unrelated projects.
I know, I'm just thinking, we made this assumption before, and we were wrong,
But
so...
by completely different people. And if this is connected to the movies, then it's instantly got a big black mark against it because every time I watch it, I'm just going to think, oh, it's going to lead to this Superman who's not really Superman, and this is awful. So
Yeah, probably.
yeah. So Krypton nearing a pilot order, which I guess would mean it would be sometime either in the fall or after Christmas. If it actually
It's
goes to
sci-fi,
series.
and they don't stick quite as much to the schedule.
Oh, I know. I'm just
So
trying to predict it in time.
I'd guess after Christmas.
Oh, yeah, I think it's too late for early fall. When I say fall, I mean later.
Yeah, even that, I think it'd be pushing it. I feel like it'd be a January thing.
Could even be later. Could be next summer for all we know.
Could be.
That said, I'm not looking forward to it, so they can take as long as they fucking want.
Yeah.
Quite frankly. Next up, Netflix has ordered a sci-fi drama called Travellers, and it's a Canadian production or a co-Canadian production. Netflix is going to carry it everywhere outside of Canada, while Canada's got it on a network, which makes me think it'll be weekly rather than
Yeah, he'll be like what they do with Better Call Saul.
yeah. So it's set hundreds of years in the future where technology has developed a means of sending people back in time to the 21st century to help save humanity from a grim future. It's going to star Eric McCormick, who you may know from Will and Grace, which is a very different show. He's going to play an FBI agent and team leader of the Travellers. And Nick Horan, who directed some Sherlock episodes, is going to direct the pilot. It's going to be 12 episodes. And apparently it's already just started shooting, so
It's a very vague premises and things we've seen hundreds of times before, but that's no reason to think it couldn't be good.
no, I mean I'm down for sci-fi stuff.
Yeah, it could go. It's vague enough that it could go either way in terms of quality.
It's also worth mentioning it's been developed by Brad Wright, who is the co-creator of Stargate SG-1, which I've never actually watched myself, but I know that has a fan base.
Yeah.
I was interested in this is co-Canadian because Stargate SG-1, from everything I've heard, it's very Canadian.
Yeah, that's the same thing I've heard.
So expect something that's maybe more Canadian, but at the same time, Netflix being behind it makes me think it might be a bit more expensive.
Yeah.
So that's Travellers coming to Netflix at some point. Perhaps if they're already shooting, I would imagine
Could be next like fall.
Yeah, it could be this fall.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next up, this one came out of nowhere and it's kind of weird. But Mel Gibson is going to co-write and direct a TV series set during the California Gold Rush. So that's like the 1840s, 1850s, and it's going to star Kurt Russell
Sorry, what?
and Kate Hudson. Plus, Mel Gibson is going to have a recurring character in it. It's called The Barbary Coast, and yeah.
Sorry, is this real or are you shitting me?
No, it's real. I'm not making this up. There's no network yet, but the Gordon Co will be handling worldwide distribution, and they've got a bunch of other shows under the belt. So, but there's very little details on the plot specifically. But given that it's based on that era, you can have an idea.
Yeah.
So Kurt Russell, Kate Hudson, Mel Gibson, and Mel Gibson happens to be also directing and co-writing the thing. I assume since it's all those names and he's directing what appears to be all of it, I imagine it'll be like 6 episodes or something like that. Yeah.
Maybe 8 at a push.
Yeah. So
This is so strange.
that's a thing.
I don't understand where this has come from.
I don't know either, but I mean, for all his insanity, Mel Gibson actually does know how to make a story and he knows how to act.
Oh yeah.
Kurt Russell's great. So
That's the thing. It doesn't sound bad in any way. It's just such a strange move for all of them.
I can't remember the last time I seen Kurt Hudson in something.
No, but do you know what? It's another thing that tells me that TV is becoming more and more acceptable to, like movie stars and stuff like.
Oh yeah, there was a time when a movie star would never star on a TV show.
Yeah.
Ever. because it was seen as a demotion, whereas now
Even still, it's only really the last few years it's really made this transition.
it's become more of a thing. I mean, it's been gradually happening for about 10, 15 years now, I'd say.
Yeah.
But, things like True Detective Season 1, not so much Season 2, but Season 1, that actually propelled the career of Matthew McConaughey again.
Yeah, exactly. And Tom Hiddleston's just done that show, hasn't he?
Yeah, The Night Manager in the UK.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's just started airing in America this last week, actually.
So, this is clearly becoming more of a thing, and that's cool. This is really random, and I had no idea where this was coming from, but, cool.
Yeah.
Sounds fine. We'll definitely check this out when it hits. So, that's that. Next up, speaking of fairly major actors doing TV shows, although this one's already done one before, Kevin Bacon is in talks to join Amazon's I Love Dick comedy, which is coming soon. If you don't know what I Love Dick is, here's a
It's a fantastic double entendre.
Yeah. Well, so it's got a married couple, Chris and Sylvia? Silveri? I have no idea how to say that name.
How the hell's it spelled?
Sylvere.
VRE.
Vere. Sylvere.
Silver.
And it's the woman's name because Chris is obviously... Well,
Yeah.
that's Belle. I don't know. Chris could be a woman's name, I suppose, but... Like...
You'd assume.
You'd assume that's the man, so... I don't know.
Silver, maybe? I don't know. It's a strange name.
Yeah. But they both share a mutual obsession with an off-putting but charismatic college professor named Dick, who's going to be played by Kevin Bacon, if the talks go through. And it's going to be told in the Rashomon style of shifting points of view.
Okay.
It's actually a fairly interesting concept for a TV show. I'm wondering, when it says they're both obsessed with them, is the man also romantically obsessed with them? Or, in fact, I don't even know if the woman's romantically obsessed with them. It could be nothing romantic, for all I know.
Yeah.
But given the titles I Love Dick, I'm assuming that at least one of them wants the dick.
You would assume so. I think that's a fair assumption.
But it sounds interesting. It comes from the creator of Transparent, which is another big hit for Amazon.
My one thing is, I'm yet to see anything from Amazon I give a shit about.
That's true. And it's based on a psychosexual novel of the same name. So that further heeds to the idea that there'll be some sexual attraction going on at some point. Interesting, it says a psychosexual novel, but it's a comedy, so that's interesting.
It is interesting. Not genres you usually see together.
But okay, that's cool. Next up, Naomi Watts. Speaking of actors doing TV shows now, I know it's the theme of this week. All these big actors doing TV shows. But Naomi Watts has been cast in a Netflix series that's coming soon called Gypsy. I vaguely remember talking about Gypsy when they first announced it, but just to refresh your memory, Watts is going to play a therapist named Jean Holloway, a woman who begins to develop dangerous relationships with people who are involved in her patients' lives. And it'll be 10 episodes, and it's labelled as a thriller.
Okay.
So, again, could be good. I have no real...
Netflix's track record is in their favour.
Yeah, for the most part it is. Yeah.
There's a few duds, but,
Yeah. So that's another one. It's another example of a fairly major movie actor doing a TV show. Alright, now, last up. This is a semi-serious news story, but given our history, a semi-comedic one as well.
I had no idea where this is going.
So, Castle is a TV show on ABC. It's a procedural sort of crime story. Nathan Fillion's in it, and he's this writer who helps the detective. At least as far as I know, I've never actually really watched it. But
Where's Mario when you need him?
well, exactly. This is why it's kind of funny to us, because Mario, when he was here, was campaigning week after week that they should let Nathan Fillion go so he can go do more interesting things. Ironically, he's staying in the show, but the female lead is leaving.
I think one of the other female leads, or one of the other female characters left recently.
At the same time, one of the other female characters is leaving as well. I would get to you keep jumping the gun, Connor.
I thought that happened a few weeks ago, sorry.
No. Stana Katic, I believe the name of the lead is. I may be mispronouncing that. It's another weird name. What's with the weird names today? Can we not just have Jane Smiths? Thank you very much. Make my life easy.
Yes, I need to give you some crazy Asian names because you can pronounce those.
Yeah, I'm pretty good with Asian names for some reason. But co-star Tamala Jones is also exiting. That's you were referring to. But there's some kind of weird controversy here because it's very much... This is going into season 9, right? It's been on 8 seasons. They all signed 1-year contracts last year because they had some negotiations last year or something to that effect. And now they're deciding they want to keep the show going because the ratings are still good enough. But if you don't know how TV works in the terms of paying actors, once their contract's up, say they start with a 6-year contract, a 7-year contract, whatever it is, and it'll be an optional contract so that as long as they renew the show by a certain date, they're locked in for that next season. Yeah. If they wait until after that date, they have to renegotiate or whatever. But once those 6 years, 7 years are up, whatever the original contract was, they have to negotiate new contracts. And when that happens, the pay for the actor skyrockets because if the show's a hit, and if it probably is if it's in season 6 or 7, they have to be paid a lot more.
One of the craziest ones for me is the Big Bang Theory. Jesus, they get so much per episode.
Yeah, they're getting paid shit tons now.
I think they're getting in the millions per episode each.
Oh, they are easily. I mean, that was the big thing with Friends. Friends was one of the first sitcoms where, by the last season, all 6 of those main actors were earning $1 million per episode.
It's insane.
$22 million a year doesn't sound like a bad salary, though.
No. I mean, even after tax, that's still pretty fucking hefty. So,
but, like, part of the controversy here, and I think the reason why there's been a bit of a reaction to this is the ABC, and it's ABC and ABC Studios that have decided this, and they've specifically stated that this wasn't like the show creator or, the writing team or whatever. This was the studio saying, alright, Fillion is a star. Fillion is the one that we want to keep. And don't get me wrong, I understand that thought because Nathan Fillion is a charismatic son of a bitch.
Yes, he is also the title character.
He is, yes. It'd be weird to take away the man named Castle from the show named Castle. And they've decided that they're going to just not bring her back, and they're going to have a new female lead which they can pay for next to nothing because she's new. So there's a little bit of a... Like, it's not a story-based reason, it's just, she's going to cost too much, and he's more valuable, so we'll get rid of her.
It's worth noting, it's not even officially confirmed to be coming back for another season yet. It's not been officially renewed, I don't believe. And
you could be right, I don't know. Huh?
And I know a lot of rumours were suggesting that it might only be a 13-episode season as well.
Yeah, but that makes it even weirder, like they're having one final season of 13 episodes.
Without the stars, yeah.
Yeah, the main star who's been the co-lead since the first season for 8 years. That is so insane.
It's fucking greedy is what it is.
Yeah.
But obviously, apparently they're also still renegotiating Fillion's contract. So I wonder if he's asking for so much more. Like, you really want me to stay around for this shit? You got to give me more. And they're like, well, now we can't afford to pay her as well.
See, it wouldn't surprise if his negotiations are still going on. It wouldn't surprise me if after this happened, he's like, "Well, I want triple what I just asked for because fuck you."
Yeah, it's
like,
well,
bullshit.
All that money you were giving to them, might as well give it to me now.
And not even like a dickish greedy way, just in a like, well, you know what? I don't know if I want to be associated with this anymore because this is quite shoddy. So, if you want me to stick around, you're gonna have to pay me silly money. And you're right, they've not officially renewed Castle for a 9th season yet. But the fact that they're doing this, the fact that they've confirmed this, makes me think they're obviously wanting to have a 9th season. They're
wanting to, but they're waiting on the contract negotiations, aren't they? For Fillion, because obviously, depending on how that goes, if it gets too bad and they can't agree on something, they have no show.
Yeah, I mean, this is a show I don't watch, but I feel bad for fans because nothing pisses me off than not having a proper final.
Yeah.
And them not knowing if they're getting a 9th season means that season 8 is not going to end.
I think they've already been kind of shafted because these characters aren't going to be written out with justice.
Yeah, because
it's too late for that.
The season final, will already be written. It'll already be
shot, be done. Yeah.
And it's not like they've said, "Oh, she'll have a guest star role in the first 2 episodes" or something.
No, they'll be just gone without a proper goodbye.
It'll just be, "Oh, where's such and such? Oh, she moved away over the summer. Sip the drink, Yeah, that'll be it.
Yeah, and that's really shitty for the fans.
Yeah, that is. So, it's bollocks. No matter which way you look at it, it's bollocks. So, It's a shame. Nathan Fillion did actually put a really nice tweet.
Oh, did he?
Just sort of praising her.
Because he's a class act.
Yeah, well, he's Malcolm Reynolds. He's
Exactly.
man of honour. Maybe greedy, but he's a man of honour.
Yeah.
Alright, so that's all the news for this week. That'll take us out to all TV reviews. Once again, if you're on the audio version, they're all just about to start. Just use the timestamps to jump ahead if you want to skip to a specific show. And if you're on YouTube, click on the links on the screen and it'll take you to those individual reviews as my cat's tail invades the screen. So thanks very much, guys. Here's this week's TV reviews.